Hello, everyone out there. Hope everyone's having a great. What day is today? Hump Day, Wednesday, right, folks? Hope everyone's doing good. Can you guys hear me? I hope you guys can. Let me take a look here, making sure that everything is set up the way I want to have it, so we could talk. Comments, take a look. Hope everyone's having a great Wednesday night. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the weird. We're going to talk a little bit of what's going on in Hollywood. And then we're going to talk about some cases of the UFO topic and the alien topic, where we're going to kind of go back and we're going to retell stories that are known, but they might not be known to you. So let's get this started talking about Hollywood. And again, I know this is totally two different topics, but I know a lot of people have been following what's been going on with the strikes and everything. All right, making sure everyone could hear me. Hello, spirit of the trees. Hope everything's well. If you can hear me, hit one. If you can hear me, hit one. Okay. But right now, the news is breaking on CNBC that, here, let me get to it. Hollywood studios writers near agreement to end strike. Hope to finalize deal Thursday, sources say. So the good thing is, hello, everyone. And Spirit, Lenny Rosa Nunez. I hope everyone's well. So it looked like the strike's coming to an end, according to the report that's currently on CNBC. The two sides met and hoped to finalize a deal on Thursday, the sources said. While optimistic, the people noted, however, that if the deal is not reached, the strike could last through the end of the year. Look, I hope it ends. I do have some friends. That work in the industry and they haven't worked in 5-6 months. So it'd be great if they go back to work. It's not just the people that are in front of the camera. It's all the below the line folks, everywhere from the accountants and the camera guys, the gaffers and everything else. So hopefully everyone definitely does get back to work soon. So that's kind of cool that it looks like it's coming to an end. Fingers crossed, right? Who knows? Now, one other thing that I want to talk about on the weird, and again, it's not, the UFO topic or the alien topic, but let me see if I could find the link here. Here, I'll just do a quick thing. Elon Musk's, the chip that he's going to be using for the brain chip. Okay. It looks like it's getting close for human trials. He's looking for volunteers. Would you guys volunteer? Would you guys volunteer to have a computer chip installed in your head? And I get it. Part of the whole process of Elon Musk's, chip is to help the disabled. So, let's see how this thing turns out. It's, very science fiction to think that there is going to be brain chips installed in people's brains, right? It's wow. But it looks like they're going on to human trials, and it looks like they will be asking for human volunteers. Would you volunteer? See, I think most of the people that would volunteer are probably people who are suffering, with different, trauma. I guess this might help people that are paralyzed or people that have, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So I understand the concept behind it. It's just like everything. It's just a little scary, right? Who knows? Maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we're all going to be Borgs of some sort, right? That's kind of crazy. So before we get into my little UFO topics that we're going to have, something kind of cool happened, okay, today. So I work in the automotive industry. That's my full-time job. I've been in the automotive industry for a good chunk of, for a long time. There was about an 8-year period that I did dabble in the entertainment industry, kind of like how Louis does, Louis from Nerd Report does. So, in the past we would, deal with celebrities all the time. But today I'm at work and one of my employees comes to me and says, "Hey, Robert, hey, listen, I'm only scheduled for a few hours. I have a doctor's appointment." I said, Yep, I scheduled you. Absolutely. She says, but can I leave a little early? By the way, this is 8:30, right? The shop opens up about that time. I said, "How early?" She said, "Like 9." I said, "I mean, like right now?" And I said, "Why?" She says, well, down the street. So my shop's in Torrance, California. She goes in Redondo at the Ralph's. Her boyfriend happens to work there. They just told us that Jason Momoa was going to be there promoting his vodka. And I said, Jason Momoa, well, listen, I'm not a girl, but I get it. It's Jason Momoa, right? Oh, sure, absolutely. And, she was really nice enough to come back and bring me. Can you guys see that? She brought me 2 bottles autographed by Jason Momoa. So that's kind of cool for you folks that have seen parts of the Bob Cave, of the studio here. I do have a lot of autographed memorabilia from different movies that I worked on and stuff like that. I got a crew jacket from X-Men 3 that's autographed by the entire cast, including, Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart. That's pretty cool. I got Stan Lee's autograph. I got Gerard Butler, Zack Snyder, Lena. I got tons of autographs from the horror folks. It doesn't matter. So it was nice that she brought me, again, 2 of these bottles. And can you guys see the autograph, right? There's 2 autographs because he does have a partner. And for the love of God, I forget what his partner's name is. But this is this is like the first batch of vodka, for what I've been told. It's called Melly. The thing is, I will never know what this vodka tastes like because the truth, folks, I'm not much of a drinker. And when I do drink, I don't drink vodka. I'm more of a rum type of person. I love dark rums. I love spiced rums. I even like light rums, but it's rum for me. It must be the old Portuguese Spaniard blood ancestry that I have in me. The pirate in me. Okay. Hello, Tammy. Hope everyone is doing well. So what else has been going on this week? Well, a lot of stuff has been going on. Tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to cover it live, but I'll definitely cover it. Even though I didn't have it scheduled for tomorrow, there is going to be like a UAP congressional hearing, if I read correctly. And I think Tim Burchett might be able to be interviewing or asking NASA some questions. If I remember correctly, I'll look into this here a little bit later. But it's crazy. It's rolling full steam, guys. There's a lot of information coming out almost daily. And the interesting thing is, if in regards to the UFO topic, even though somewhat of this debacle from Mexico, the alien bodies, okay, it looks like the other people who do take this topic very serious, it's going forward, right? It's going forward. There's a lot of information out there. By the way, one podcast that I would truly recommend for you guys to listen to, and it's available pretty much on all platforms. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's going to be the Weaponized podcast with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. Those guys are wonderful. A lot of respect. These guys are like, to a certain extent, some of my heroes in the UFO world. These guys are fighting out there daily. And they just released one of them yesterday. And it's interesting because, and I might, tomorrow when I come back, I'm going to post the phone numbers of the senators. Long story short, Jeremy Corbell was telling us that we need to call our representatives and demand disclosure. And they're putting up a lot of phone numbers, okay, for us to be able to call, our representatives, because from what we're getting, there's certain people in our government that want disclosure and some people that are fighting it. Okay. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a little more of a serious topic in regards to that. And we'll recap everything that was done at this NASA congressional, hearing. I think it's tomorrow. Don't quote me for sure, but I think, Spirit, I love Captain Morgan as well. And I know that, yeah, Cap is good, but I'll tell you which rum I like better. I love Kraken. If you guys haven't had Kraken, some Diet Coke, some Kraken, a pinch of lime is fantastic. My all-time favorite, there is a rum. You can't buy the real Havana Club in the States. You could sometimes get it out of Canada, or you could get it out of, like, if you visit to Mexico, because of the embargo that's going on in Cuba. That's been going on for years in Cuba. But if you're able to get one of the original real Havana Club bottles, the Havana Club Dark, oh, it's wonderful rum for you rum drinkers, okay? It's pretty amazing, okay? Yes, Spirit of the Trees, demanding disclosure. So that's what Jeremy Corbell is telling us, that we need to call. Like, if everyone that listens to his podcast, he says, would just take a minute and make a couple calls, right? And it's basically, I don't know if you've ever called any of your representatives and say, look, this is a very important topic for me, whatever it might be, whether it's, healthcare or the people about the gun, whatever it might be, right? That's how you kind of make sure that your representatives know what matters to you. Well, right now, he's telling us to make sure that we reach out to them talking about UFO disclosure, that we need more hearings and we need the truth, because it looks like there's a big internal battle going on in the U.S. government right now. Okay. So I'll put, tomorrow I'll come back on. We'll keep it short tomorrow. I might do a short recap of what was said or what was done on the congressional hearing. I don't want to call it a congressional hearing, but there's some kind of hearing going on with like a select committee hearing, is what I believe I read. So again, we'll go live tomorrow. I'll post the phone numbers. It'd be great if you guys go ahead and reach out to different people and your representatives and so on. Okay. Now, today's topic, and this one is one that some of you folks might already be aware of, the story of Betty and Barney Hill. Okay. So just bear with me a second here, folks. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to be sharing some. Here we go. Give me 1 second, folks. Make sure that we're all on the same. Here we go. Betty and Barney Hill. Have you guys heard this story? Do you guys know the story of Betty and Barney Hill? And if you guys have heard this story, hear me out. I want to kind of give you a little bit of background of this. For one, they were an interracial couple back in the 60s. Okay. If you guys remember, if you guys know your history, right, that was something that wasn't seen as much. And they were a interracial couple. Okay. And they both were active in civil rights movement in the 1960s. Barney was known for his work in the Postal Service, while Betty was a social worker. Their encounter with what they believed to be a UFO and the subsequent reported abduction experience brought them to a significant public attention, and for a time changed the course of their lives. Okay, so the reason I want to talk a little about this story is because we've been talking a lot about UFO, first encounters of the first kind, or the second time where we're seeing things. Well, the story of Betty and Barney Hill was a close encounter of the third kind, where they actually had interaction with what they believe. This is what they're stating. So we're going to start here slowly. Okay, we're going to start a little slowly here. Betty and Barney Hill, their abduction case is one of the most famous and controversial UFO abduction incidents in history. This event, which occurred in September of 1961, has captivated the imagination of many and sparked intense debates about the existence of extraterrestrial life and the possibility of alien encounter. Betty and Barney Hill were an American couple from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Barney worked for the U.S. Postal Service and Betty was a social worker. On the night of September 19th, 1961, the Hills were returning home from a vacation in Canada. They were driving through the White Mountains of New Hampshire when they experienced something that would change their lives forever. The encounter, as they were driving late at night, Betty noticed a bright light in the sky that seemed to follow their car. Barney initially dismissed it as a conventional aircraft, but as the light grew closer, they became increasingly alarmed. Barney stopped the car, and using binoculars, he saw a craft that he described as a flying saucer, with the humanoid figures peering out of the windows. Sounds kind of creepy. Terrified, the Hills quickly got back into their car and they tried to escape. However, they soon found themselves in a state of altered consciousness and realized that they were 35 miles down the road with only vague memories of what had transpired during that time. Missing time, right? That's where I think some of these stories where this story is intriguing, because we hear of missing time, we hear of abductions, for the last 20, 30 years, and it's kind of, I don't want to say a normal thing, but we hear these stories. Well, this was really like the first, encounter that got really big publicity. And this was, 62 years ago. At 62 years ago, almost to the day, because this alleged incident happened September 19th, 1961. And what are we right now? What are we right now? We're the 20th, right? So it's literally, give me 1 second, guys. Here we go. Okay. So, Betty and Barney reported the incident to the Pease Air Force Base, and Major Paul W. Henderson conducted an initial investigation. Although they had the missing time and fragmented memories of their experience, Betty and Barney began to have disturbing dreams and flashbacks that suggested that they had been subjected to medical examinations and invasive procedures by the occupants of the craft. Over time, Betty and Barney sought the help of Dr. Benjamin Simon, a psychiatrist who specialized in hypnosis. Under hypnosis, they both recounted a detailed and consistent story of their encounter with non-human beings. They described being taken aboard the craft, subjected to medical examinations, and communicated telepathically with the entities. Now, if you guys have watched some of the documentaries about, Betty and Barney, okay, it's kind of creepy because there's actually audio of some of these hypnosis sessions that they were having, like their first recollection of everything that was going on, and it's absolutely freaky, right? It's absolutely, you're like, wow, that's some scary stuff. Just the reaction on their voices and stuff. Absolutely creepy. Okay. The Hill story gained widespread attention, and it became one of the first abduction cases to receive significant media coverage. While some believe their account and saw it as evidence of extraterrestrial contact, skeptics raised questions about the reliability of hypnosis and suggest that the experience might have been a product of stress or imagination. This is the other thing that's very interesting about this story of Betty and Barney. All reports are that Barney didn't want any of this. Like, he didn't really want too much of the attention, and part of it was because of them being a interracial couple, right? Like, he didn't really want to drag it in, especially since this was kind of like the height of the civil rights movement, and there was a lot of other stuff going on. And what's more important, the civil rights movement or these alien abduction stories? And he didn't really want to go public. And what's interesting is he actually died only a few years after this happened. Okay, but he was, according to Betty, he didn't want the publicity. It wasn't good for him. And again, understandably so. Again, interracial couple, 1961. Okay. The Betty and Barney Hill abduction case played a pivotal role in popularizing the concept of UFO abductions and has been referenced in countless books, documentaries, and movies. It has also inspired the creation of support groups for people who claim to have had similar experiences. Now, and this is a question that I have for you guys. How would you guys react, right? I think most of us would kind of have this, it'd be freaky, right? Whether it's people, in the paranormal world, people who have reports of either like possessions or, abductions. It's almost like a violation, and it's totally, it's creepy. It's scary, thinking about, especially their story where Betty goes on record, because she lived to like 2004. She was around for much longer right, than Barney was. Barney did pass away like 3 years later, and the truth is I can't remember exactly why he died. But Betty for years was fighting for, to try to discover more information, to see what we knew, what the government knew, what they didn't know, and also create like it says here, they created a support groups for people who were also having these issues. And I'll be very clear, I've never experienced any kind of alien abductions or anything like that. Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Ann. It is 100% terrifying, right? Something like this happening is absolutely terrifying. So the Betty and Barney Hill abduction case remains a subject of fascination and debate within the UFO and paranormal communities. There is no, like anything in the UFO world right now, right? There hasn't been any conclusive evidence to prove or disprove their account. But it definitely continues to be a landmark case that has left a mark on the study of UFO phenomena and the exploration of the unknown. At the end, whether one believes the Hills were genuinely abducted by extraterrestrial beings or if there are alternative explanations for their experience, the story remains a compelling and enduring mystery that continues to intrigue and captivate those interested in the unexplained and the possibility of life beyond our planet. Let me put this. The Hills testimony was literally unheard of. They really had no reason to lie. 100%, 100%. And they had more to lose than to gain. And let's think about this to a certain extent at one point. Nowadays, people are accepting a lot more about the whole UFO phenomena. A few years ago, and to a certain extent, remember the movie Signs with Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix, right? And it was completely. There was a scene where Joaquin Phoenix is sitting inside the closet and he has a tinfoil hat. Well, that tinfoil hat reference, right? Everybody, if you believed in UFOs, they would say that you were tinfoil hat wearing, that you were crazy, that you were cuckoo. Even like in the X-Files TV show, remember the lone gunmen? They were the nerds. They were the people out that were marginalized out to the side. They were just not to be believed. Nowadays, you have heck, Aaron Rodgers. I posted this on the channel. Aaron Rodgers says that he witnessed a UFO 20 years ago. Now people are coming out and people are like, oh yeah, President Jimmy Carter says he saw something, and as disclosure slowly, little by little, right, is trickling out, because it is. I truly believe we're living at the time of disclosure, whether it's going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, but we're getting close. I truly believe that there's just too much information out there. And now you're not looked like a weirdo that you might believe in aliens and or UFOs. And I had this conversation with a friend. Kind of reminds me, I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. Yes, you see in here, and I love my Batman movies, and I love my Star Wars movies, and I love Star Trek and Battlestar and everything else. Well, back 30 years ago, we were looked upon kind of weird. Oh, you like comic books and you like this, and now everybody is a Marvel fan, right? Everybody loves watching Star Wars, and everybody's been watching Mandalorian, and everybody's watching the new Ahsoka series. And if it's not that, they're watching something else that's a bit geeky, right? Well, it's kind of happening in regards to the UFO world as well, right? In the UFO world now, it's become accepting. Here, I like this comment. We're literally aliens to the ocean. We pluck things out of the ocean all the time. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly a great analogy, Ann. We pull people, we pull live beings out of the ocean. Sometimes we throw them back, right? Too small, doesn't fit it, whatever it might be. And sometimes we grill them on and we eat them. All right, it's kind of scary, actually, to think about it that way. Okay. Battlestar Galactica as boss. So, Spirit, but I have to ask you something here. Are we talking about Battlestar Galactica 70s, right? Or are we talking about the one with Edward James Olmos and Katie Sackhoff and all those folks? I love them. I love them both. But the truth is, the new one, we say it new, it was already 20 years ago, was pretty fantastic. I agree with you. Battlestar Galactica is amazing. So, again, in regards to the Betty and Barney Hill story, there's tons of documentaries, and you actually could find the audio of the hypnosis session, and it is terrifying. When you hear her voice and when you hear Barney, and it talks about how when she was abducted and the things that they were doing. Yeah, Spirit, that one, absolutely early 2000. Yes, I agree. That was a great one too. It's a very terrifying story. Now, I have to ask you guys, why are you guys believer? If I'm making the assumption here, but are you guys believers? Do you guys believe in the UFOs and aliens and stuff? Have you guys experienced anything? Now, I'll tell you something. I said this on one of the Nerd Report, podcast maybe a month ago or so. I've never seen an alien or a non-human intelligence. I haven't seen that, not that I remember at least. But I'll tell you, I was 2 years ago. We were flying to, I said Puerto Rico a couple days ago. It wasn't Puerto Rico, actually. It was Miami. It was my oldest daughter's season opener. She was going to school in Drexel University out in Philadelphia. She plays fast pitch. She was the catcher for them. It was their opening series, and they were playing out in Miami. We ended up flying out there, and my newlywed wife, okay, because I got remarried, we're flying down, and as we're on the west coast of Florida, right? So that would be like the Fort Myers, Naples, Tampa Bay side, right? And we're starting to descend, and they're kind of mentioning, we're 20 minutes or 30 minutes away from Miami, whatever it is, okay? And I end up I'm looking out the window, and I saw 3 orbs that looked translucent. It almost looked like liquid mercury in the middle, but it almost looked like it was like the mercury was like square in the middle, and it was like a sphere on the outside. It was really weird and hard to explain. And I looked at it, and I quickly looked at my wife, and I'm like, what was that? And it was too close. It couldn't have been what, it was just too close. And I remember looking at this, and they were the size of a school bus. And what was kind of weird, there's no way why the plane, if it was balloons of some sort or stationary, it was too close to the plane. And I remember looking at them, and I was like, what the heck is that? And it just stayed in the back of my mind, and I kind of went about my business, and we got to Miami, and we enjoyed South Florida. Let me see here. I'm a believer because I lack an ego. That's funny here. And it was just the craziest thing to see, right? It was the craziest thing to see. And then we start hearing about the reports recently, right? Hey, what's up, Daniel? How you doing, bud? Hope you're doing well. And now then I felt a bit vindicated when I started hearing about the fighter pilots and other people who have been seeing these orbs, right? These spheres, and they're described exactly how I seen them. So that's my experience. Okay, that's my experience of the UFO. But even before then, I always thought there was something there, right? Ever since a kid, yes. Every chance I had I had to go to the library or watch, any of the old TV shows, whether it was an unsolved mystery that talked about UFOs, or if it was that, I forget the name of the TV show that had Leonard Nimoy, Onto the Unknown, or whatever it was called. Anything like that. These were the things that completely intrigued me. These are the things that I totally love to watch. And I kind of grew up a little bit on the religious side. And, and it was funny because growing up on the religious side, my personal belief and the stuff that was being taught to me, every time I saw something in the scriptures, it was kind of like, wait, that sounds like a UFO, or that sounds like it could be like an alien. And this was, I remember being like 12, 13 years old, and me looking at my mom and saying, Mom, can angels and demons be just aliens? Right? And she would look at me like I was totally out of my mind, right? Because I'm like, she's like, where are you getting this stuff from? And I was too young to be reading books like Chariots of the Gods, right? That ended up now kind of going with, going with, the whole belief that, the whole ancient aliens myth, belief that are out there. So again, there's a lot to explore. Now I've kind of told myself that in the next 12 months I really want to dive deep into just different beliefs in regards to the supernatural, kind of dive, not necessarily like believing things, but I want to research it, right? I want to expand my mind a little more. Just, I want to know, I want to believe. So wherever this road takes me, I'll keep you guys and now, I'll keep you guys aware of it. Now, Spirit, what strange things have you seen? And I'll tell you, I live in Los Angeles. So I see a lot of weird things, but mainly it's just like the tweakers and the homeless people that are just walking up and down Hollywood Boulevard. By the way, folks, if you guys haven't seen Los Angeles, it's sad. San Francisco, it's sad. It's become it's disgusting. This city's become a poop hole. I'm trying to control my cursing. All righty, but hold on, I like that. New Orleans, NOLA. Spirit, I love NOLA. I try to go to NOLA at least every other year. I haven't been back in about 2 years. It's funny. I've been wanting to go back in October during the Voodoo. I think they call it the Voodoo Festival. I love NOLA. The food, the culture, it's amazing. It's amazing. Now, talking about the stuff that, like I mentioned, things that I want to research. Part of the research is kind of learning a little bit more about the stories that are out there. And I'll tell you, for a lot of people, believe that this UFO phenomena started, and I said this during the Aurora, Texas thing, that it started in 1947. Or if we're to even say, okay, cool, let's do the Aurora, Texas one. It started in 1896 or 1897. Now I want to dig deeper and look into the other stories of who else believes in star people. All right. And in regards to the star people, here. Daniel, where do you live, bud? You said you live with Bigfoot. So is it Northern California? Loveland. Anne, this is an interesting thing here. Anne's telling me that she lives in Loveland. So the funny thing is, my soon to be 22-year-old and my 20-year-old daughter, who just turned 20 just 2 days ago, they live in Fort Collins. They're your neighbors. I used to go to Fort Collins about once a year. I used to be a fast pitch coach, girls softball, right? And there's a big old softball tournament that happens about once a year where literally 1,000 teams from across the country. It's club ball, right? To get these kids scholarships and stuff like that. And Fort Collins was a place that it is a place that we would go to. Boulder, Denver, but Fort Collins. My daughters go to University of Colorado. My youngest one goes to University of Colorado, Fort Collins. And my oldest one just moved in with her. So so I love that area. Very pretty. I plan to go to the Stanley up in Estes Park. Very, very, Well, Anne, you know what? Listen, this is a good transition right there. So I think they've been around for a really long time. And with that, I'm going to move on to a topic that I didn't announce what we were going to talk about. This is the Native American UFO and alien legends. So Native American cultures, all right, are renowned for their rich tapestry of myths, legends, and spiritual beliefs that connect them to the natural world and the cosmos. Among these diverse narratives, intriguing accounts have emerged over time that some interpret as encounters with extraterrestrial beings or identified flying objects. While these legends vary among tribes and regions, they provide a unique perspective on the relationship between indigenous people and the mysteries of the universe. So, yep, we're going to talk about Native Americans and we're going to talk about their star people. Okay. The Hopi and the Star People, one of the most well-known Native American legends that has captured the imagination of UFO enthusiasts, is the Hopi legend of the Star People, or the Katsanam. And I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that properly. My bad. Okay. Let's see here. We have a Bigfoot museum downriver. I don't know if it burned down during the fire. The Hopi, a southwestern tribe, have a deep spiritual connection to the cosmos, believing that their ancestors originated from the stars. According to Hopi mythology, the Katsanam, again, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, my bad, are celestial beings who descended from the heavens to guide and impart wisdom to the Hopi people. It's funny because celestial beings who descended from the heavens to guide and impart wisdom to the Hopi people is not much different from the angels from the Bible, right? The belief, and I was having this conversation with someone the other day. They're like, "Oh, I don't believe in extraterrestrial beings. I believe in God. I believe in devils. I believe in demons. I believe in angels, but I don't believe in extraterrestrial." And I said, by the very definition, aren't angels and demons, gods and devils, extraterrestrial? And he kind of looked at me and I said, I'm just being serious. If you look at the old stories of the Bible, right, where where the fallen angels came and they had sex with the women of the world, and they got impregnated, and then we ended up having the giants of the world and the Nephilim. I said, they weren't spirits then, right? They were corporal beings, right? Flesh and bone. And somehow they had sex, if you believe the Bible, they had sex with the women, right? So if that's the case, then they are extraterrestrial, right? And they were physical because they were able, according to Bible teachings, they were able to impregnate women. And then we know the rest of the story, the great flood and Noah and the whole thing. Okay, that's for another day. That's another day. So some interpretations suggest that the Hopi interactions with the Star People might be early accounts of encounters with extraterrestrial beings. The Star People are described as possessing advanced knowledge and powers, leading some to speculate about their otherworldly origins. However, it is essential to recognize that within the Hopi culture, the Katsanam are regarded as sacred and symbolic rather than their literal extraterrestrial beings. Now, this is what I want to share with you guys. Okay, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen, okay, some of these. Here, hold on a second here, folks. Yeah, here we go. This is actual petroglyphs, I believe is the way you pronounce it. Okay. And if you look at the drawings from the Native Americans, okay, such as this picture here, okay, it makes you question, it makes you wonder, okay. And the other one would be, give me a second, I'm going to share another one with you guys right now. Oh yeah, this is a good one right here. Okay. I'm telling you, looks very UFO to me, right? That one looks just really, really cool looking pictures from our from the Native American folks, right? And again, it makes you wonder. Okay, um, the Lakota. Now, here's the thing: it's not just the Hopi people who believed in a possible in these star people. Now they call them star people. The Lakota Sioux and the Thunderbirds. The Lakota Sioux, known for their deep spiritual traditions, have legends centered around the Thunderbirds. These majestic bird-like beings are associated with thunderstorms and are considered both powerful and potentially dangerous. Some researchers have drawn the parallels between the legends of and modern UFO sightings, particularly when describing large bird-like or winged objects in the sky. The Thunderbirds legends are embedded in Lakota culture and play a crucial role in their spiritual beliefs. Um, while some aspects of these stories may resonate with modern notions of UFOs, it is vital to remember that their significance within the Lakota context is deeply rooted in their spiritual and their natural world. Interpreting Native American legends as accounts of alien encounters, UFO sightings is a relatively recent perspective. These stories are deeply rooted in their cultural, spiritual, and historic fabric of indigenous societies. They serve as a means of preserving traditions, teaching moral lessons, and connecting communities with their ancestral past. And I want to be very careful. I want to, whenever I talk about these possibilities or these myths, it's crucial for me to approach these legends with respect for their cultural context. The interpretation of these stories as evidence of extraterrestrial encounters should not overshadow their primary importance of cultural treasures that reflect the beliefs, values, and the reverence for the natural world held by the Native American communities. Okay. Um, yes, I agree. Chariots of the Gods. And if you guys don't want to read, the book, you guys could actually just watch the documentary, because there's a documentary called that specifically, right? Chariots of the Gods. I think it might be on Netflix. If not, it's on Prime. It's kind of, I don't want to say it's a little dated, but it is an old documentary, but it's still worthwhile watching it. Now, some things might have, you might say, okay, well, I believe something else, whatever it might be, but this will definitely open your eyes a little bit about the belief of, the potential spiritual, angels and gods, and ETs. All right, totally, definitely interesting. Here, let me see what. Oh, it's on Gaia. Spirit of the Trees is telling us it's on Gaia. It might be. Um, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I'm good with that. There, they prefer to call them fallen angels because they are more familiar with that term, and humans occasionally are afraid of the unknown. But to me, that seems like UFOs. Okay. So Native American UFO and alien legends provide a unique lens through which we can explore the intersection of indigenous cultures and the mysteries of the universe. While these legends may pique curiosity and align with modern ideas about UFO phenomena, the true significance lies in the cultural richness and the insights they offer into the profound and enduring spiritual connections between the indigenous people and the cosmos. So I'm going to tell you something, guys. So you guys know, and we haven't officially launched it, but myself, Cameron, Lewis, my other buddy, Cameron, Skylar, who will be doing some of the editing and the graphics, we will be working on a documentary. And I'm really hoping to have the official announcement, even though I'm telling you guys about it. We will be doing some crowdfunding on this, because we will need people's help. And my hope is that Louis, through Nerd Report and through some of his friends that he has on other podcasts, they're going to be able to promote it. We're going to be asking for your guys' help as well. And one of the things that I plan to do is reach out and go talk to some some of the Native American tribes in the Southwest area, because I think that we don't give this more. The Native Americans have been here for a very long time, right? They've been in North America for 10, 20,000 years or more. And according to their own teachings and beliefs, they were interacting with star people. And when you talk to a lot of Native Americans, they believe in the UFO topic. So talking with the Native American folks is going to be something that we will be doing. So that's something that I kind of want to let you guys know ahead of time. In the next week or two, we're hoping to have the official announcement. We recorded and filmed like a little video that's being edited. It's kind of cool. It's kind of funny. Okay. But now something I also wanted to throw out to you guys, and this is me stuck in traffic, because if you guys don't live in California, you guys might not know this, especially in Southern California, Los Angeles. I only work about 18 miles away, maybe 15 miles away from home. It takes me about an hour to get there every morning, and it takes me about an hour to come home. So sometimes we're just stuck in traffic, and so I don't get pissed off of the crappy traffic that we're dealing with, or the idiots, the idiot guy, who can't drive or whatever it might be. And I just start thinking about different theories and different possibilities. And I was listening to someone's podcast, and this person is like, "Oh, the UFO landing is totally fake," and I'm not sorry, the moon landing was fake. And Stanley Kubrick, he directed the actual, moon landing, and and I hear the arguments, but at the same time, you could literally go on a telescope and actually see the what we left behind on the moon, right? So there is no doubt that we made it to the moon. But could it be also that we also did fake what we showed to the masses, right? And I was thinking about that earlier today. Hold on a second. I got to share this real quickly. I agree with you, Spirit. That's a good one. And Anne, by the way, Skinwalker Ranch is somewhere where we're planning on going. So if there's a benefit of living where I do, I'm literally about a 6-hour tops drive from, Area 51, about 2-3 hours away from Edwards Air Force Base, about 5-6 hours from Phoenix, because we're also going to be covering the Phoenix Lights. And if I drive to New Mexico, to Roswell, it ain't that bad. I've done it twice. So, I will be covering, at Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know if they're going to let me in. I doubt it, but we're definitely going to go outside. We might be looking around in the area, talk to some of the locals. That's the biggest thing I want to do when I go up to Skinwalker Ranch, is to actually talk to the people that live next to them. We've heard the crazy stories. I've heard them all, right? The crazy stories about Skinwalker Ranch. It's scary. It's creepy. Some of the stuff that you hear, especially when people came and visited Skinwalker Ranch, and then they went back to like Washington, D.C. or whatever it is, and they had something called the hitchhiker effect. They brought something back with them. Woo-hoo! I'll tell you something. That is crazy and amazing, right? All righty. So going back to the moon, I start thinking, what if, we could clearly see with the telescope that we made it to the moon, right? Because we could actually see the lunar, the rover, the lander, and all that stuff, okay? But what if we also did fake it, right? Maybe the first time, because we didn't know if we were actually going to be able to get to the moon. What happens if they all died? Were we going to actually show it if things didn't go as planned, right? Was there a plan B for NASA? Or what if we've never really seen the true landing of the moon, because the other thought was that there was something else going on there, right? There's also reports that, there's when the audio went blank for periods of time. There's the thought that we discovered a UFO. There's a lot of different theories. And I'm just wondering what if both are true? What if both are true? That maybe Kubrick was involved somehow with a fake landing. And what if we also got there, but they were just covering their bases? I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility. I don't know. Just ranting, just rambling on. By now, what time is it? It's 8 o'clock, 8 something, and I just got to ramble on. It's 8:30. Give me 1 second, folks. Checking to see if there was any messages. All right, so no lag on communications. Yeah, but there was, right? I agree. There shouldn't be, but there was some kind of lag. There was a constant thing. So I'm just, again, I'm going to kind of dive deep into this. I'm going to do some research on this, but I will tell you what so tomorrow, to be clear, I didn't plan on going on tomorrow, but because of this UFO thing that's going on in the select hearing. We'll go on for at least 20, 30 minutes and give you guys a quick recap of what's going on. Plus, I want to hear from you guys, right? I definitely want to hear from you guys. And I also, please, if you guys have something, did we see it? Did we see what? I'm curious. What are we talking about? So tomorrow I'm going to go on for about 30 minutes. Okay. Friday, I have one that I think is going to interest you guys a lot because it's also dabbling a little bit about ancient people and the UFO topic. Okay. And just like today, I'm going to also have maybe one or two other topics or two other stories that we're going to talk about. But please, if there's one story that you guys want to talk about, send me a message. Okay. Send me a message. You could send me a message through the Atomic Wire Instagram page. Okay. Just send me a message here or send me a private message through here or leave a comment after the live feed ends because we end up losing all these live comments, right? But send me a message through the Atomic Wire Instagram, please. If there's a certain story that we want to talk about. The following week, we are going to mix it up a little bit, and I might ask Daniel for a little bit of his help since he's in NorCal, and we're going to actually dabble a little bit with the Patterson-Gimli footage, right? That the footage of did I say it right? The Patterson something footage. Gimli, that's the dwarf from Lord of the Rings. The Patterson footage from back 50, 60 years ago, the first time we actually saw, the first time we actually saw, Bigfoot. It was a pretty cool video, all right? So we're going to talk about that and maybe some of the other Bigfoot sightings that happened in Northern California. Plus, I am going to go back to, now that the strike is almost over, okay, just to let you know, on this same channel, I also do movie reviews and stuff like that I also do. If that interests you, great. If it doesn't, so be it. But, I'm just going to keep on rambling on different topics, okay? I'm definitely going to continue. Here, let me see. Let me go back to this one right here. Lenny, I'm curious to know and what you have experienced. Because now I did tell you guys that I didn't experience anything that I thought was necessarily alien UFO, but I did live in a house that scared the crap out of me. We experienced a lot of things that I guess we could say are supernatural. Okay. So maybe one day we end up talking about some of those topics. Okay. But I would like to know what you experienced. I'm really interested to know what you experienced. Please message me through the Atomic Wire Instagram page. Give me some stories. Let's talk. If you're okay with talking about your stories, let me know. And if you don't want to share them, that's okay too. If you just want to tell me about it, I'm interested in hearing your story. And again, when we go out and end up talking to other people, the first documentary that we're going to do is going to be about the UFO and alien topic. The other ones, I'm going to tell you, we're planning on doing multiple ones. I'm hoping to do, at least one a year, maybe twice a year. They're actually big production, right? We're just not going to go out there with our, iPhones and record. We're actually going to take, proper sound equipment. We're actually going to take some high-end, cameras and stuff, and we're going to do a proper documentation of these things. But I'm really interested in your story. I'm really curious what you have to say. I want to hear them. And if you want to talk about them, I'm all ears. Okay. But going back tomorrow, again, we're going to recap what was said with the UAP NASA congressional hearing. I don't want to call it a congressional hearing. I think it's like a select hearing committee. And then on Friday, it's one that I had never heard of. It's a UFO alien story that goes back not 500 years, not 1,000 years. It goes back a couple thousand years, and it's very interesting. There's a lot of things that kind of makes you believe that some ancient civilizations was clearly having interactions with aliens, and we'll talk about that one on Friday. Okay, guys. All right. Well, listen, Good hearing from all you guys today. Let me see if I'm missing any comments here. Yeah, listen, I'm down. Please message me. Okay. I'm oh yeah, yeah. By the way, Spirit, I agree. That's exactly what I'm saying. I think that they were probably scared that we were going to, it was going to be a crash landing. They had to cover their bases. Remember, we were racing the Russians, right? We were trying to beat the Russians to the moon, and if things went south, we weren't going to reveal it to the world that we just lost 3 astronauts on the surface of the moon, right? There was always that risk. So I agree with that. I'm thinking that there was a possibility, right, that we definitely did get to the moon, but what was broadcasted the first time around, I'm going to say the first time around. The second time around, I think we're good. The first time around was clearly maybe something that was done by Stanley Kubrick. Maybe. Okay. Do I have an email? Yeah. Let me post an email here for you guys real quickly. Okay. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm pretty sure this is my email. Just bear with me a second, folks. theatomicwire@gmail.com. I am pretty sure that's my email. If it isn't, I'll make sure, you know what, I'm pretty sure it's my email. Okay. Yeah, so definitely go on that one. I definitely want to hear from you guys. And listen, any of the stories that you guys have, experiences, any experiences from your friends, anything that you've heard, let's talk about it. Let's explore. But again, tomorrow, then Friday, we're going to talk about a really good topic, a really good story. I'm going to say that most of you people probably never heard of this one specifically. Okay. Watching from the UK, so very late now, have to get to bed, but really enjoying this. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, guys. And I do appreciate that. And Daniel, the same way. And Daniel, seriously, if you can message me through the Instagram page or through that email, theatomicwire@gmail.com, and tell me if you have any stories, any recent stories. If there's anything more recent than the stuff that was done, back, a few decades ago, I would definitely love to talk about stuff like this. All right, guys. All right, but listen, it's time for me to go to bed. It's 8. Well, it's not time to go to bed, but I got things to do. It's 8:40, and we will talk again tomorrow. You guys have a great night. Be good and be safe. And don't forget, keep on digging for the truth, guys. All right, guys. Thank you.